Alright, so here we are finally with the coverage of the Sony Inzone headsets. We're going to be starting off with the H3. The following video, which will be Monday, will be the H7s. I will not be covering the H9s because the only difference between the H7 and the H9 is noise canceling, which I do not think is worth the extra money. And just to be clear, as you're looking at this right here, just looking at this box, well, it's Sony. We all might jump off and say PlayStation, but just looking again at the box, it's purple. This is Sony kind of trying to step a foot into the PC space, right? They got their monitors and stuff. Now, yes, all these products, heck, even their monitors you can use on your consoles. But this, again, is Sony trying to dabble a little bit more into the PC space since, again, this doesn't say PlayStation anywhere on it. But I did test it on the PlayStation. Heck, I tested it on the Xbox, PC, and all that. So anyways, let's dive into the H3s. Inside your box, of course, you're gonna get your headset here. You'll get your detachable USB with your little sound card deal on it, which you can run at 3.5 or via the USB. You got all your paperwork and a few stickers. Now, of course, you all know where we have to start. We have to start with the comfort. And first off, I wanna show you the headset here. As you see, we have that full swivel all the way flat, a little bit in, ear cups in and out. Now take a look at these ear cushions, guys. Super nice. It's like that silky sports material. And if you're looking here, it's on the outside, the top, then when you come inside, you have that little pleather right there, which is gonna, again, help into locking that sound. Now, it does hold in a little bit of heat, but still with that nice silky touch on the outside. Very comfortable, very plush ear pads as far as dimensions. As you see right there, plenty long, plenty wide, and definitely plenty deep. My ears do not touch the drivers. One cool thing actually talking about that, if you look right here, it springs down. You can pull these ear pads off, which they are honestly a little tough to get off. As you see, they go into that lip, but it's down into the frame. But other than that, when the cushion's on, you can see the drivers actually push down into there a little bit. So again, just talking about that, you're not gonna have to worry about your ears touching the driver. But side note, as far as changing ear pads, it is tough. It's actually tough getting these back on because, again, that lip is down in there. Now, coming up to the top, let's take a look at this headband. It does not go edge to edge. It's kind of what I thought looking in the pictures. It's actually just right here to right here, which is plenty fine, and it is super plush, as you can see. And a great thing about this headset is how incredibly stinking light it is. If we go on and get it right on a scale right here, of course our wire is attached. We are getting right at 300 grams. Let me make sure this wire's not hanging down to add a little bit of weight. So let's add a little bit. We're getting 298 grams, and no joke, this headset is just incredibly lightweight in the hand. Now, as far as the build, it is all plastic, which plays into that lightweight, but I really don't get too worried. Again, I twist it up. I got all the flex points, the movement and everything. I don't get worried about it at all because, again, it bends pretty easy, springs right back into its position. You got all those movements and everything, but again, it is all plastic. Even our adjustable arm right there, how it adjusts right here. So if there's one point you might want to worry about is that plastic from the cups going into the headband. And when I take this headset and I put it on my head, hands down, stinking cozy. I mean, it's incredibly lightweight. You take the hat off right here, you set it. I mean, it gets plenty big as well, you know, but it's the clamping force is light. It's clear. Right there. It's clear as day, a light clamping force. No questions about it. Ear pad super cozy, sit on top of my head, very cozy. Comfort, build, style, I give it a win. Now looking over features and functions, really not much here. Again, the headset is 3.5. It is permanently attached to your headset. The wire going into it is quite chintzy, very tiny, thin cable. I don't know, I wish it was removable, but even a little bit, I wish the wire was a little bit thicker, maybe kind of what they used on a USB cable. Whatever, nitpicky. Our volume control is right on the back here. Top's out at the highest, bottom's out at the lowest, and it's a little dimple. As you see it popping out right there, I really like that. So bam, you can clear as day find it. Your microphone, flip down to active, flip up to mute, plenty moldable and everything. And then you do have your USB little sound card type deal, which is gonna allow you to plug it into PC and dabble with the software, which we'll talk about soon. Now, before we dive into the sound test, let's go on and get this microphone test. And I'm gonna do two here. I'm gonna plug it in 3.5, which is exactly what you're hearing right now, and then we're going to plug it in by USB and see how that sounds. Now, I'm not going to get in there and dabble with any of the microphone tweaking or anything like that. That's going to depend on environment to environment. I'm just going to be plugged and played both situations. And again, we are plugged right by 3.5 right now. Let's go on and plug in the USB and see how that sounds. And now we are hearing the microphone plugged in by USB here. And just letting you know, like even me recording, it's picking up a lot lower. But why that is, again, I'm plugged and played. I didn't dabble with any software or anything. This is out of the box settings. But whatever settings are on the USB little deal right here, it saves to it. So again, the microphone might be set a little bit lower in there, and plugging into here, it's just recording a little bit lower. So again, that's really cool that it does save. But again, if the microphone sounded drastically different here, it's because again, whatever settings were out of the box set on this is what it's set. But at least now we got the comparison of 3.5 microphone compared to USB microphone right out of the box. All right, so now let's go ahead and talk about the sound right here. By the way, this headset is using 40mm drivers with a frequency range of 10 to 20,000. I'm going to talk about it again using 3.5 and by the USB, and I'll show you a little bit of the software right here. So let's start off with what this headset I believe is built for. Again, PC plugged in by USB, and you can dive into the Inzone software, and you got lots of controls in there. As far as your EQ, your presets, you can save it. It saves right to the USB dongle, and you can take it over to your PlayStation and use it that way as well. Dabble with the microphone and all that stuff. So very simple to use, easy software. Now talking about the core sound right out of the box, it's very bland. What a way to start, right? But it's a very bland sound. A lot of your details in the back end right there. It's almost like you got the mids kind of overtaken a lot of the detail. It just pushed it. It's very distant. It's like, I want to call it a shy sound, if that makes sense. I'm like, it's back to like, I wanted it a little more in my face, you know? So that's why I dived in there, dabbled with my EQ, tried to pull out a little bit more, and I was able to make it manageable with my EQ, but as you can see, I usually have that smiley EQ, but it's crazy. I had to pull my bass and mids down a bit and really spike up my highs, and it still wasn't screechy in the highs, right? So you might be looking at the curve, you're like, yo, dude, that's crazy in the amount of highs. But believe it or not, it wasn't. That just allowed the detail to come up front a little bit. Playing Halo, guys, I didn't hear anybody around me. It was bad. I didn't get any of that detail. Immersion, mild, guys. I might be even generous saying, hey, it was still even immersion, right? Getting into something like that. The weirdest thing for me, right? So we're talking about PC right there. You kind of got a gist of the sound. But when I took it and used it on the PS5, I'm going USB, right? And it did save the settings. I dabbled, I pulled the bass all the way down, brought it out there, and it saved to the settings. When I plugged it into my PS5, the sound was incredibly low. Yes, I did go into settings and dabble with everything, make sure everything's cranked up and yada yada. I didn't have the Tempest, the 3D sound, whatever. That's all gimmicky. That works on any headset. It's not just these Sony ones, right? So talking about that plugged in there, I didn't know what was going on. I was like, why is this so stinking quiet? Like, it was incredibly low in the volume. I dabbled with everything, made sure everything was set in there, and it was so low. So, again, even though it's saving to this, going to our PS5, it just wasn't usable because it was so low. I don't know, it was something I did. Let me know down in the comments. I'm not too sure what's going on. Where I want to flip this around, though, is using it by 3.5 right here. Simply plugged and played, going into the PS5 controller. It was great. It was better than on PC. When I even dabble with my own EQ, right? I'm playing Uncharted, plugged it in there, and I got the wind. I'm in that scene where he's on the rocks and the rain and the wind's coming down, and I got all of that detail. It was good. It was loud. It was punchy. You know what I mean? I felt like it just let the headset just kind of get out and breathe a little bit more. I felt like the USB dongle was kind of holding it back no matter what you tweaked. And again, I dabbled with every setting in there, and my best experience was running 3.5 on this headset, whether it be an Xbox controller, to my PC, or to the PS5. I had the best experience running 3.5. And at the end of the day, that's right where I wrap up the Inzone H3. This headset comes in at $100. And no, not at all is it worth that price. I'm sorry, it's not. Yeah, it has a lot of good going for it, but it has a lot of core bad things going for it. What this headset should be, and I hope Sony releases one, maybe an H1, and it's just this. This headset with the 3.5. This should be a $50 or $59 headset with just 3.5. Again, this was an absolute joke. So, as is, no recommendation here for me at all. I feel like there's many other better options for $100 out there. But like I said, the next video will be coming up with the H7s, and make sure to subscribe and hit the bell for that one, because much, much better than the H3s right here. Hope to catch you in the next one. Bye now.